let's explore autistic history and the Autism Wars. This is part 56 of a series. So wow, we left off in the last video with it's going to take a revolution as being stated by Laura Tysonik about the state of things between the autism community and the autistic community, and the great silencing that happened to the autistic community by the autism community. And it's going to take a revolution, and it's right, because autistic activists have been in a revolution in the civil rights movement for decades and decades now. And whew, it's a lot of history here, and there's only so much a brain can take, and I absolutely do adore going down rabbit holes, but I'm doing my best to present this Autism Wars without going too far down into the super fine details, because there's rabbit holes upon rabbit holes upon rabbit holes in autistic history, and it's whoa. And there is definitely time and need to document those rabbit holes, but the Autism Wars and how they're affecting us today, I want to stay on focus on these periods of history that are dramatic. They're so dramatic that I think that we can have like a mini series made on these eras, because it's vicious. It's got celebrities, it's got doctors, it's got infighting. It's just a lot going on that's astounding. And I think, I think people will be really, really surprised to see the whole of it and what was happening in that era, because it's just incredible. Definitely a documentary series, because there is so much video that comes with this, especially with the talk show eras and all the media plays and all the publications that were used back in the day. I mean, there really is, we need to make a documentary series. And so my hope is with this is stitching the autistic community history with autism community wars, to get a feel from that from all perspective, because I don't think that inclusion has happened before. When I see formal histories on autism, it doesn't include autistic community history. And when that needs to be shown, because, well, they were out there promoting and marketing these tragedy narratives about us. We were actively fighting them over this narrative they insisted on having, so they could create an epidemic and cash in on it. So here we are. This is where Lord Tyson comes in again with saying, we are going to have to, we are going to have to live the prejudices you are creating or building, right? So it was something like that. So we know now, it's 2023, 23 years later, we are doing exactly that. We are trying to survive the prejudices that the autism community created for us, and the cures and treatments and direction of science and autistic healthcare. We are still lacking basic access to appropriate care, even in emergency rooms. So, yeah, there's so much that the autism community has missed that we really, really are trying to get heard on, because what's out here right now for autistic adults is the tragedy. Yeah. But with that being said, I do want to delve deeper into some of these areas, especially some of these people that were presenting at this conference and the organizations they were affiliated with, and it will start also on that exploration showing the fractures within the autism community and how they were fighting each other as well. But I find it interesting, this Dan Burton, he's presiding over this autism hearing, this congressional hearing on autism. And he has a daughter, I believe her name is Danielle Sarkin, Sarkin. So I want to take a deeper look at these folks first. And, you know, we're 23 years out from them. We can see some history that happened there, right? I'm sure Dan Burton has. Well, let's just look. So I'm sharing from the testimony that was given on April 6, 2000 by Dan Burton. Mind you, his quote about the ADA, it's astonishing. It's astonishing. But let's look at the opening statement, or a segment of it, from Dan Burton in this 2000 congressional hearing. Let me see. Here it is. And these transcripts are available online in full. You just do a search for them or look up Dan Burton on internationalbadassactivist.org in the search bar, and it will pop up this one in there. So I'm going to share this part. It says, "This morning, we are here to talk about autism. As we learned in our August hearing," and this is back in 99, "the rates of autism have escalated dramatically in the last few years." This says Dan Burton. Yeah. So what used to be considered a rare disorder has become a near epidemic. Senator Dan Burton in the opening statement talking about autism being a near epidemic. So whether it's true or untrue, it just got legitimized on C-SPAN to a nation of people hearing about autism, probably for the first time in their lives outside of movies like Rain Man. We have received hundreds of letters from parents across the country. In fact, here are some notebooks, and each one of these pages represents a parent who has a problem with a child with autism. Right. So, they have shared with us their pain and their challenges. My staff tells me that some of them cried when they read some of these letters. And I have a pretty hard-nosed staff. I do not have to read a letter to experience the kind of heartbreak that is in these letters. I see it in my own family. I am very proud of this picture. The one on the left is my granddaughter, who almost died after receiving a hepatitis B shot. Within a short period of time, she quit breathing and they had to rush her to the hospital. My grandson, Christian, whom you see there with his head on her shoulder, according to the doctors, was going to be about 6'10". We anticipated having him support the family by being an NBA star, but unfortunately, after receiving 9 shots in one day, the MMA, DTaps, and hepatitis, within a very short period of time, he quit speaking, ran around banging his head against the wall, screaming, hollering, waving his hands, and became a totally different child. And we found out that he was autistic. Right. So I'm wrapping this video up here. I'm going to share a bit more of this testimony by Dan Burton going forward and take a deeper look at some of the parents who testified, as well as the folks who spoke on behalf of parent-founded autism organizations like these celebrities. So much more going forward. Thank you for exploring autistic history with me.